Welcome back to Roadmap, Auto Trader UK's product and tech podcast, and for a deep dive on artificial intelligence at Auto Trader. So now AI is a hot topic right now, and to bring things to life, I've got some super clever people joining me today who I've been reassured are actually human beings and not cyborgs. So first up, I've got Catriona McPhee, Head of Strategy Insights. Hey.
Hello.
Next up, Darren Hakin, Engineering Director.
Hi.
Hi, Darren. And last but not least, we've got Peter Anthony Appleby, Head of Data Science and Analytics. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Right. So, going to start off because this is exciting, but I am an absolute newbie to this subject. And when people talk AI, I just think of Terminator and the end of the world. So, jokes aside, just if you could, between yourselves, we'll sum up what AI is, your role within AI and role within AI Auto Trader. I'm going to start with you, Darren.
Me?
Yeah,
I would have thought you'd have started at the...
Oh, we can start with Peter.
the other end. No,
I don't mind.
Oh, there we go. Well, Peter's taking it. He's overtook you. Go on, Pete.
Okay. I mean, AI is it's a term that's been around for quite a long time. It's become a bit of a catch-all term for any kind of data, machine learning driven sort of techniques that give intelligent-like behaviour. Could be anything from sort orders on a website when you're looking for stock in our case, due to things like valuations models that we have. So it's become very, very broad. So my role within AI Auto Trader, so as leading the analytics team, so I look after all of the sort of machine learning and AI and data science things that we do. We have quite a big team now doing data and insights to help drive better decisions across the whole business. So that's quite a broad role. I think we're in almost most corners of the business now. We have analysts and scientists embedded in teams. So it's going very, very well from that perspective.
Yeah. So Dr. AI. What about yourself then, Darren?
Yeah, so I actually joined Auto Trader. I've been here about 7 years now. And one of the big focuses was around data, AI. I don't think we just labelled it all as AI at that point, but with the hype that's gone on in the last 12 months, we seem to have jumped in that direction. But one of my big focuses is how we maximise our use of data from the engineering side. So do we have the right technology platform that helps us work with data, self-serve access, analytics, but with the AI part, how do we actually take all that data and turn it into things that are artificial intelligence, as it were?
Cool. So do you two work tight then, do you?
Very.
We do, yeah. I mean, without the platform, you can't implement any of this stuff. So the science and the machine learning is important, but you need the platform to work hand in hand with that.
Yeah, so it's the whole piece really. The tip of the iceberg sometimes is where the artificial intelligence sort of comes together and we see it in action. But to get there, we need technology, data, also our people, engineers, scientists, analysts a lot. So yeah, we work together a lot on that stuff.
Hold on a sec. Yo, what's that? 74.8% people not subscribed. You joking? Hold on. Right, listen, we're going to get taken off air. If you're liking these podcasts, remember to like and subscribe because we need to get these numbers up. Otherwise, it's time for the... And what about yourself, Catriona?
So I guess a big part of our role in the strategy team is to think about the big changes that are going to happen in the industry or even outside the industry and how it's going to impact kind of our consumers or our customers or Auto Trader. And obviously kind of AI and the advancements, particularly in LLMs, are going to be a big change that happens for us in the next, already happening, but in the next few years. So it's definitely an area we've been trying to understand a lot about and working with the rest of the business to see like what are the big opportunities, what are the big risks, what do we need to think about. So I'm not a data scientist, I'm not technical, so any of those questions I'll be avoiding.
Yeah, well, I think you've already blown my mind with like LLMs and ChatGPT and whatever. So actually, just thinking like actually all the terminology out there, like the history of AI, because you read the press and it's like you said, it's the last few years, it's like it's big news. But how long has AI been around? What are the technologies, the common things that we're talking about? So I don't know.
I'll start with that one. It's been around for a long time, so it's changed its meaning over the years. A lot of early AI research was about game playing, chess, and later Go, that kind of thing. And then it's moved on to these sort of large neural network like LLMs, and more recently. So, but even with LLMs, it's not a new technology. It's been around for a while.
So what does LLM stand for?
LLM stands for large language model. So the large is because it's a large neural network. and the languages, because at least initially they were trained on text, although they have expanded recently to be multimodal, so that's text and vision as well.
Is that crystal clear for you?
I think this side of my brain just melted.
Did it? What about the example when we were exploring AI to kind of help? A lot of people have been asking these questions.
Yeah.
You had a great thing, Pete, which was the first sort of starting point of AI, which was it like 1800s?
Oh, yes. So I had some slides for the
this.
board recently, and I was talking about the Mechanical Turk, which was a chess playing machine, but it was a hoax. It was someone inside actually playing chess. And the point about that was it's always kind of fascinated people, I think, the idea of a machine that can compute and, you know, even think and do human-like tasks. So AI really has a very long history. It's fascinated people for a very long time. I think it's only now with the scale of the computing and the data that we have available, some of these things can come to fruition. It's because of the internet, it's because of cloud computing. That's what's making it all possible.
So yeah, imagine a man in a box, and you just think, wow, that's artificial intelligence. A machine is doing things, but it's not. We've been fascinated with it for hundreds of years, but with technology and the amount of data that we have access to in the modern world compared to what we did, it lets us sort of apply lots of techniques that were just not possible in the past. So it is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Your point about the large language model that is a new, exciting area. It's all really about language. So now these sort of AI techniques let us process language, unstructured information, books, literature, tweets, posts on Facebook, content pages, all that kind of stuff. It's letting us sort of access all of that in a way that wasn't possible before.
Yeah.
So this is very exciting.
So me as a regular non-scientist person, like where would I start to see him in like my day-to-day life then? Because I remember like as a kid playing chess, whatever, against the machine that absolutely batter you. So I remember that as 12, 13-year-old. But when really did it start to go into like mine and Catriona's daily lives?
Is AI before now, or with LLMs in particular?
Just generally.
Well, I think AI techniques have always been there, and they've always been kind of in the background. I think what's changed with LLMs is that because the interface is natural language, it's how we normally communicate. So you can literally speak to it in your normal everyday language.
Like Alexa sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah. And I think why this changes things so much is on a regular basis, we have to engage with data sets and domains that we're not experts in. And being able to talk in the language that we use day to day allows us to access these data sets without being technical experts. So AutoTrader is a good example with the taxonomy of the cars. It's not an everyday thing that people talk about, but we might speak in natural language about those things. I want a big car that has a certain amount of performance or boot size or whatever. It allows us to translate that natural language into that taxonomy. So in a way, it unlocks, you can become an expert in pretty much everything because you can describe what you want in your everyday language and not have to be an expert in that domain. That's why it's so interesting.
Yeah.
I think as a consumer or a person in society, I think the starting point of feeling like AI was a bit more there for you was probably about 10 years ago. It is kind of crazy at the moment with things like ChatGPT that like everybody's wanting to talk to me about AI, especially when they know that I'm kind of into that thing. It's crazy now, but even just things like, Facebook, there's a square and it goes, that's Darren on a photo, is kind of remarkable, and it is AI. Spotify recommending things for you to listen to, Netflix doing the same. It is in our kind of society, but the whole ChatGPT and large language model thing recently is just another level of obsession from people.
Yeah.
Even to the point like when we've spoken to people, like when we've been doing the research together and everything around this stuff, all that stuff like Alexa, Facebook, it's now called classic machine learning or classic AI. People are calling it that, like it's some sort of
like the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're referencing things to the
Like
1800s. It's like it was probably 5 years ago, and it's kind of remarkable. Yeah. Self-driving cars, computer vision. All this stuff's been talked about for a long time, but the hype is unbelievable. I've never seen such an obsession as I have since ChatGPT. But it makes sense why when you think about it, because it's such a natural way. Like we're talking together right now. It's the most natural thing humans do together is talk. I know you're looking a little bit cynical now about this.
I was going to say.
Is it not natural for you?
I don't know. It's not natural for me. But anyway,
let's not have that recorded.
Yeah. But like Catriona, I mean, I think we bumped into each other your first week at a conference. Like, when did you get your interest peaked on this? Because like you said, you're not a data scientist or on the technical side. So when did you start to, from like a strategy insight, go, wow, this is something now that's really starting to take off and get interested in?
Yeah, I think probably only in the past couple of years. I mean, I think as a consumer, I'd obviously experienced it in lots of different parts of life, but hadn't probably spent a lot of time digging into it or really thinking about what is the data, what's the tech behind it, how do all these amazing products actually come to life.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely in the past couple of years, and then like you say, since ChatGPT, I feel like the interest in the industry and with investors and lots of different people is really heightened. So there's been a lot more of we need to really dig into this, really think about possibilities, opportunities. So, I mean, obviously we're at AutoTrader. There's a lot of other people that have been thinking about it and working in AI for a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting to just learn a bit more from them and really try to get under the skin of it a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that when we were doing a little bit of chatting beforehand is that blew my mind is not the going back into the 1800s or the 60s, whatever. It was more like, I remember Pete Appleby turning up and like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? And then you wind on 8-9 years and then you see all the groundwork we've been doing. So I'm fascinated. So it's not my story, Pete. It's probably yourselves from a platform and a capability perspective. But like, when did we start doubling down? Like, not from like we're going to talk externally, but from actually building I'm going to call it an AI capability.
I think that started for me back in 2014 when I joined the company. We started investing in data science and machine learning. We started growing that team, and we've grown it very steadily over the past almost 10 years now. It's about 35 now, so it's a big team. There's a lot of commercial experience, but also PhD postdoc experience. I think that's the foundation that's allowed us to build these AI models that we are building. But at the same time, we built the tech platform to support them. As I mentioned earlier, that's very, very important. Otherwise, it's just research work. It's not actually a tangible product. So I think we've just been very steady with that. There's not a particular moment that we would say we started doing this. I think we've been doing it since 2014, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to like the capability and the scientists. So were you our first data scientist?
I was, yes.
Was you?
Yes.
The first. So how many data scientists do we have now?
We have actual data scientists, maybe around 8 or 10.
Right.
And the team as a whole is 35.
Yeah.
So that's analysts and scientists.
And when you come to scientists, is that like astrophysicist, PhD?
We do have a lot of people with a physics background. I have a physics background myself from Manchester. Physics seems to be a good prep for the kind of machine learning and AI stuff that we do.
Yeah.
I think it's that critical thinking, that kind of construction of models describing something.
Yeah.
I sometimes think of our website as it's almost like a miniature little universe with its own laws that are there to be discovered, and we're trying to figure out what those rules are and encode them in it.
This is starting to really blow my mind. So I've got this little, like now, I'll trade this little circle and little oceans and gravity.
That's it, yeah.
Cosmos
We're trying to discover the laws of motion of our website. So what was the question?
The question was about scientists.
Yeah,
Gone off into some sort of universe here.
I mean, when we first started doing it, data science wasn't really a thing that you could get a degree in. It is now. You can do data science, machine learning, but we've had a lot of success recruiting people from quite different backgrounds. But physics has been a good one for us, and mathematics.
Yeah, and then from the platform capability side, then Darren. So like again, was that at the same time as we started bringing data scientists in, or was that something that later we started to invest in?
So I think the change that happened from just in fact of how organisations use data is that most companies, maybe before Peter joined at least, would have used data mostly for reporting. So you tend to have like analytics with reports generated, which would let you see how many consumers are on AutoTrader every day, that kind of thing. And that's generally what a lot of companies did with data. And I actually worked many years ago for another company where we did data in that space, and I vowed, obviously I vowed and went back on this, but I would never do that again. I didn't enjoy it because a lot of the data stuff at that point in time wasn't very engineering. It wasn't about programming. It wasn't about building things around data in that sort of way. I feel like I'm going to attribute this too much to Peter. It's almost like he is.
Go ahead.
Well, I like the fact.
Fine, yeah.
No, I don't want your head to hit the mic.
Well, the thing is,
But
we've already referenced, we've got a before Peter.
there's a
It's like, like
BPC.
2014, 2013 was before Peter.
Yeah.
2014.
There is
onwards,
that.
after
Yeah.
Peter.
But there was a sort of change really in the way cloud technologies and the evolution of technology that meant how we wanted to approach data needed to change, to terms like big data. So we saw this explosion of data in the world as well, like access to phones, IoT devices, Alexas. Just the amount of data pumping through everything has just shot up over the last 10 years, and so technology has changed because of it. And that's really what the sort of shift for Auto Trader probably was around the time Peter joined, or just slightly after, which was moving more from using data but for the purpose of it solely for reporting, and how do we expand out what we work with our data to do around things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, self-serve data, integrating more data into our products. And that was the investment we've been going on really. But it is a huge change, and I kind of went back on my vow never to do it, because it is just such a different landscape now. It's very engineering focused. And so today in Auto Trader, we describe it as we build our data platform. That's what we call the sort of bundling of things that makes it possible for us to do AI and other things. But it's the capabilities, it's our technology platform around data. But it is such a shift in that space, and really that's been building up to doing more and more with AI. And then I think our journey with that is we've integrated machine learning AI techniques into lots of our products and services. Consumers and retailers might see that. They might not, because it might be something that's behind the scenes.
I was going to ask Catriona that really. Like, again, from you do a lot of work externally, is what things within the Auto Trader universe, as now Pete's called it, and the actually talk about externally and pinpoint these are things that if you're thinking AI, look at this particular capability and it brings it to life. Is there particular ones that you like double down on when you talk externally, or?
I feel like this is quite a recent thing for us to really pinpoint things. I think one of the things that I found is that it's fascinating how much AI is used in so many different areas at Auto Trader that we probably didn't used to talk about that much externally. But I think even for consumers within their search journey, there's lots of different things that they'll be experiencing that are using AI. So even things like the price flags that help them understand, is this a transparent price? Is it a good price for me to buy this vehicle at? Which is really difficult for them when, every vehicle is unique and it's not a purchase they make that often. So they'll be seeing that price flag, which obviously is powered by AI, but I'm not sure a consumer would necessarily pick up on that.
You see, because it is dead abstract. I mean, like when you're talking, again, like the universe of AT and the whole gravity and physics, etc. And when you think about the machine learning and the tech platform, like blows my mind. But it's the tangible things that I'm not going to say like you're like me, but I'm definitely not sat on that side of that side of the couch. Is how we just we can tangibly feel and touch. Go, actually, that's powered by AI. That's powered by AI. That's powered by AI.
Yeah.
So it is fascinating.
Yeah, I think so much of the value that we give retailers, and they'll be using so much of our data that uses AI.
Yeah.
In their kind of everyday, everything that they do in terms of sourcing or pricing vehicles or advertising vehicles. I think it's very much ingrained in the products that we provide.
Yeah. And is there awareness? It's probably throughout. So awareness within the sort of retail community around what we're doing in AI. Is that something we've been talking to retailers about?
I think we've been trying to do that more. So we did a webinar recently on this topic of AI, and I think we're trying to draw more attention to the tools that we've already built. And we have built quite a few different tools. And again, going back to the point I made earlier about helping people navigate spaces that are hard to navigate, even for a retailer, understanding the market dynamics and supply and demand and how quickly cars are going to sell via retail rating, that's hard. So we're helping provide a tool to help navigate this space and be more successful as a retailer.
It's a strange thing that we've all been facing this last year because of ChatGPT, really. But before that, I don't think we tried to sort of split out things that we did to help people with AI.
Yeah, it's not like with a little.
It was a tool.
Powered by AI.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a tool, right? So we would do the whole product development cycles and say, right, what kind of things can we build, and if we can apply machine learning AI into that and make a better product, then we will. But it was really about the product, not really about the AI. But I think externally now, people are sort of almost wanting us to, I mean, we don't like to boast, so we don't really want to talk about that stuff too much, but it feels like people want to know specifically what we're doing with AI, so we're sort of trying to change that a little bit. But before that, we'd have launched something like price indicator flags to help with pricing transparency. We wouldn't have said powered by AI, we just wouldn't have bothered with that. But
as this LLMs particularly have matured in the last few years, we've just taken them on board, and we're starting to look at what we can do with that. But just part and parcel of everything we've been doing all this time.
Yeah. And beyond then, obviously, and going back into serious mode now, is obviously the ecosystem that we've got, like retailers, consumers. What about like industry-wide or within educational university? Are we doing any more like collaborations of things that we're learning and sharing our knowledge around either progressing in technology or particular techniques? Is there anything we're doing on that front as well? Because I know we do a lot of where it isn't just specifically for the two-sided marketplace.
Yeah, so certainly, I mean, you can jump in about what we do with universities and data science, but on the engineering side, one of the things that, as a technologist, I'm always really keen that we do as a tech business is share what we learn and what we can contribute back to the technology industry. So we do a lot around blog posts. In fact, I think we've got more data blog posts than anything else in technology. Sorry if any of our tech people listen to this, but I think that's true. And we do a lot around conferences and contributing in that way. And it really, really, and podcasts like this where we talk about data and other stuff, and it really helps. It helps us because we can give back to the industry. So if we learn how to do something awesome with data, I don't know, as a technologist, I want to bring that back to the rest of the community. But it really does work. So when people join us, they seem to know about that if they're interested in data. Like they've found out about us through that. But also lots of different companies reach out to us and want to share ideas with us. I think that's great because that's how we all progress in the technology space. So I think that's awesome, and that just makes me feel like we definitely work at a really great technology business if we can do that.
Yeah. What about on the university then basis? 'Cause that I find fascinating, to be honest.
Yeah, we were sort of quite early started doing that kind of collaborative work with universities. So we've been doing master's projects for many years now. And we cover a wide range of topics. And in 2019, we actually started doing work on NLP and large language models with MMU. So we've got a track record of doing collaborations with them. Then we've had a PhD student, and we are currently about to go out with an audit for a postdoc at MMU to look at LLMs. So we've got quite a long track record of doing these collaborations. It's been very fruitful, more fruitful than maybe I even hoped at first.
Wow.
So we've had some great sort of proof of concept work done.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of collaborations, from what I hear, can be quite hard to get to work. And I think that's partly because it's a very different world, different environment, understanding the constraints. But because we've got a lot of expertise, academic expertise within the team at AutoTrader, we've managed to make those work really well for us.
Yeah. So is that where like sort of PhD students come in, work alongside our data scientists, or we give them like problems that they could try and like solve? How does it work?
Well, the master's projects, each year we set projects with the university, and students will sort of do the project for us.
Right. Cool. Because it's funny because I was Googling Peter Appleby the other day, and it turns out that one of my maths professors, because this is the thing that me and Pete talk about all the time, that we're the same, but we're not. And he's also called Peter Appleby. So there must be something definitely in the maths genes about Peter Appleby's.
Well, it's not a name. You can't give him the name when you're proved to be good at maths. Yeah, they get the name.
Yeah, the name. It's actually called David, but he's now acquired Peter Appleby as his data science.
Peter Anthony Appleby.
From profile.
Right. Okay.
All right. So then we've done loads of looking back.
Yeah.
So I start with Catriona. Is looking forward then, especially like thinking of strategy insights. Without them revealing like NASA type secrets, what are the sort of the interesting things that you see on the horizon around like leveraging AI, whether it be in society or at AutoTrader?
Yes, I think one of the most interesting things about the area is that you can talk to lots and lots of really smart people who know a ton about AI and how they think it's going to evolve, and really educated guess. But and have good ideas of where to test things, but nobody knows exactly what's going to happen in the future, which is really, really fascinating. But I think within automotive, there's tons and tons of opportunities. And I think if we just think about some of the pain points that, I don't know, consumers, when they're looking for a vehicle, you can come onto AutoTrader and there's over 450 vehicles on any day on site. And everyone's unique. So how do you find the one that really works for you? And, you've got so many different questions about that vehicle, and is it going to fit in the garage? Is it going to fit your golf clubs? Do you want an electric vehicle? Do you want petrol or diesel? All these different questions around buying that car, and it's obviously one of the biggest purchases that people make in their life. And it's a complex journey. It takes people a long time at the moment. So I think there's just lots and lots of things that could be done to help consumers along that journey, and just give them a bit more confidence in that is the exact right car for them. So I think there's lots that can be done there, and we know that a lot of consumers come into the journey, and I think only like 1 in 10 actually know exactly what they want. So just like huge scope to help there.
Yeah, it's interesting because me and my wife were looking at a car the weekend, and it was one of the ones was around the old EV and charging, and it was blowing my mind. Like, how can you? I just want to be able to ask a really simple question and get the answer. But so then, if that's from like a consumer and retailer or consumer perspective, what about yourself, Darren, from like a platform capability perspective? Is there anything you're seeing that you're like going, oh, that's going to be exciting, or I might see that on the horizon?
So I think there's definitely going to be some really significant changes off the back of large language models, and ChatGPT is showing, like, excited everybody that it might be possible. I think for AutoTrader, it'll definitely be the sort of thing that feels like you will do a lot more like virtual assistant stuff and helping people with natural language sort of questions. Maybe that's like your point there around ask us a question about electric vehicles, and because we've got lots and lots of data about the automotive, we can help with that kind of thing. So I think there's lots of things like that. It is sort of a balance in that zone. I mean, like the hype around it's insane. So everybody in the world is sort of trying to differentiate themselves or create something new. So that it's actually hard to sort of see what we want to bet on, because it's like you could bet on one thing and it's it's moved along again now. It's so fast. So there's sort of this balancing act that we've got to have, which is probably not to be first, but not any later than second, maybe. So you want to be second, but not third, because if you're third, you're probably losing out as well.
Yeah,
so
I mean the hype is insane, because like my mates are plumbers, and we went on holiday and they were chatting around ChatGPT, and I'm like, what? Like, conversation. It's not like the intelligent lads, but it's like, why? Where's this conversation come from? And it's like, it is insane how much like press coverage.
Yeah, it's really captured people's imagination.
Yeah.
But I think, as Darren was saying, I said earlier that it's just another tool in our toolbox for solving various problems, where we've got compelling product ideas that will be enhanced by these different AI techniques. We will use them, but we're not keen just to do something with a particular technique just for the sake of it.
Yeah. I'll give you an example, like the whole conversational thing like ChatGPT. There's a whole thing about, how far do you go with that on your product, your platform, and people talk about like conversational commerce. So you could do everything through a chat interface, but then the balance of that is that a good product? And like I saw this great blog post a few weeks ago where someone had read it and said these sort of techniques could in theory sort of like unbundle your products, because you've designed your product to work a certain way, and this chat thing's almost going around that, and that actually might not be the better experience, but in a lot of cases it could be. So I think a lot of this sometimes is about whatever we do with AI. It's like we can feasibly do it, but should we do it is the other thing. Like, does it make it better? Does it make it better, right? Or is it just
not
vanity?
doing it for the sake of it?
Yeah.
Having it glowing blue with a little powered by AI.
But I do think the large language model thing will have a substantial change to just so much stuff for everybody, really. Yeah. But we'll see it start to kind of permeate through AutoTrader. But I mean, through all of our products, really, you sort of map out like how much have we done AI in our products over time. You can see it's an uppy graph. It's just going up and up. So you almost, the more you find, the more that you do it. I think the thing that I'm pleased about, though, when you speak to other companies, like to get there and do this sort of stuff well, you do need that data platform underneath it. So a lot of companies now are like, well, God, we need this data platform now in order to do ChatGPT, basically. And it's like they've got a lot of work to get to that level of maturity.
Yeah.
But I think it will change people in lots of other ways, like things like generating tweets, or what do they call them now? X's?
I don't know. I don't know. I've got a podcast on social media where I'm going to get educated on everything.
We could write you out of this. We could just generate.
Well, you know what?
A script for you.
I was thinking about this. We could just stick the hologram and just give it a bit of a Muttley type voice, and then we're done.
Yeah, I mean, let's do that next time. We'll try. We'll hack. Well, next podcast, we'll get you to do one.
How do we hack him out? Right. But techniques and mathematical techniques then, Pete, is there anything that we're seeing coming out within the universities, or any other, like you said, LLMs came on board more recently? Is there any other new or exciting mathematical advances that we're looking at?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, there's always a lot of exciting maths happening, Pete. I think the LLM is captured everyone's imagination, and it's the scale of it. But there's going to be some big developments with those. I think we'll see increasing power in smaller versions of LLMs. So at the moment, we're in a stage that I believe that the networks are don't need to be as big as they are. I think we're in an early stage, and I think they'll get smaller, they'll get more efficient. I think you see this with a lot of technology. It gets more efficient, and more compact. That will happen too with the LLMs. So I think many people would like to see them on devices like a phone in your pocket, and in order to get there, it's going to have to become much more efficient. But that's definitely a trend that I see coming.
Wow.
Smaller, cheaper, more specialised.
Exactly.
What they'll do.
I do like small.
And at the moment, you need quite a lot of hardware to run the big models. It will unlock even further when you can run them on much more modest hardware.
But they are like, we could try next time then, Pete. We could generate a script for you, and we'll do a bake-off and see which one ends up performing better on the podcast.
Tell you what, it sounds like
you regret getting us on now.
Easier, yeah. Maybe I won't learn as much, but no, that was insane. Cheers for that. So if anyone listening of you wants to know more, you've now got 3 names that you can no doubt tap up. So thanks to Catriona, Darren and Peter. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to please like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the notification button so you never miss an episode, and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And that's us done. Catch you for another episode. Bye.